Finally, after getting the integral systems in place, the actual gameplay for the server is being developed as we speak. After developing my first mod, Igneo's Combat Revamp, check it out in the top right corner if you haven't heard of it, I've started work on my second, arguably most central piece to the concept of this server, Igneo's Mining Revamp. Creative naming convention, I know. It's been a long time since I've started this server, and a huge portion of it was simply setting the systems in place and getting my eggs in a row. I've made a couple of videos detailing the development of this behemoth, and finally all the framework and most notably combat is finished. So it's time I get into the actual meat of the server, gameplay. There's a simple gameplay loop for this server. Originally inspired by some random time I was playing Deep Rock and thought to myself, man, this would be pretty cool if there was a way I could just build a base in Deep Rock and actually use all the stuff I find in Hoxies instead of just spending it on small weapon upgrades. The loop starts where you start, alone, meaningless, and poor. So you gather materials, build your base, upgrade gear, gather materials, build your base, upgrade gear, and at this point it sounds like any survival game, but we have Minecraft, which isn't exactly the industry standard when it comes to progression. It's great as a sandbox, don't get me wrong, but the gameplay loop for Minecraft is more like gather materials, build your base, upgrade gear, gather materials, build, and so on. The progression portion of Minecraft is lacking. A lot. So I have to do two things in order to fix it. First is slow down progression. It's insane how fast you can get the best gear in the game. Maybe a bit longer if you want all the best enchantments also, but if you just build inside a village, it doesn't take long at all. And more importantly, enchantments are also completely changed with my combat revamp mod. With things like protection and mending and the like removed, now when you get netherite, that's it. No grind to get the best enchantments, you're done. This can be achieved in a few hours at worst. This is really bad for both the longevity and replayability for a game that wants even a little emphasis on progression, which is exactly what I'm trying to give Minecraft here. This is also not to mention that, perhaps a controversial take here, but mining in Minecraft is kind of really boring. The caves in the new update are great and all, but they're completely expendable. Chances are, when you go mining, what you're doing is digging blocks in a straight line. Unless you're a min-maxer that does windmill mining, but that's the same thing in concept. This isn't challenging or engaging. It's one of the most mindless activities in the game for something that takes up half the title. Perhaps we look at the other end of gathering resources though. For where Minecraft shines best, if you want a certain block type, you probably have to adventure out into the wilderness to find it. You can take grand adventures to get your hands on Mausoleum, and this part of the game is not bad at all. The only problem is that this isn't tied to progression in any sense whatsoever. The closest thing that exists for this is that mesa biomes have more gold, but this is barely worth seeking out unless you need powered rails. But chances are you probably have all the gold you need from either other mining trips or a gold farm. The part of exploration that is tied to progression is the structures, and these are lackluster too. The loot is cool and all, but the challenge and intrigue of any dungeon is limited at best. At its worst is jungle temples, and its best is trial chambers. However, these dungeons are all extremely cheesable still. In essence, I need to fix the mine in Minecraft. The most recent updates have been scrambling to fix this, but the fixes are either band-aids or not widespread enough. For example, the trial chambers and ancient cities are awesome, but these are two pieces of a much bigger puzzle. Plus, the ancient cities could still use some work. The cave changes that have been made were fantastic for making caving better, but strip mining still remains as half or more of the experience. It's what I like to refer to as a boring meta, which kills games big time. So to start with mining, I'm just gonna completely remove ores from the overworld as well as the caves and all other underground features. These will be moved to a brand new mining dimension instead. There will be several of these dimensions accessed through different parts of the world, with certain ores more prevalent than in others. Each one will effectively be its own deep rock mission. In one, you might be tasked with mining materials, and a different one you might have to find and steal a dragon egg. The purpose is to essentially be a significantly more fun and interesting mining process than the current state. I obviously don't have much footage for this dimension though, because I'm still making the mod. If you're interested in its development, I do stream it, so stay tuned for that. Now back to the other half of resource gathering is of course structures. These also need a rework, so I've removed those from the overworld too. And I'm re-adding them with my own handmade ones instead. These dungeons will be instead more reminiscent of a dungeon in Legend of Zelda, not a hole in the desert with TNT in it. They will both reset and be protected by the server, so when you run through it, it's not going to ruin the experience for the next person, and you can't cheese it by mining through half the walls. This portion of development will obviously take the longest, since it includes puzzles, combat, and parkour, all leading up to a great final challenge. With actually interesting rewards and difficult trials, these ones I don't stream the development of, since I don't want to spoil anything, especially since they all have lore. You can, however, help me build these things by submitting an application to the build team. All I need from you is a demonstration of your understanding of combat encounters, building, and puzzles. Make a few good rooms of these and you're in. I can't wait to see you there. In the meantime, development is about to have some awesome stuff coming up. With all of the new gameplay features and survival tests having just begun, now is a better time than any to join the server and start learning the ropes before things get serious. So consider subscribing for updates on development and join the Discord if you want to say in it. Support me on Ko-fi if you have some spare change, and maybe stop in some of my streams to see my progress. There are some really cool things planned. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.